Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another action-packed edition of Fusion of Honor, where we talk about everything that happens on MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor. Now, guys, as you know, there's still not a weekly show right now for Fusion. They are still on their break. Everyone's doing their fight camps. Everyone's getting ready for the big show at the 2300 Arena. But there's still news that we get. There's still some little trickles here and there. Last week we were talking about they got to start making match announcements, and lo and behold, we get something this week. So guys, we're gonna get straight into it. But before we do, we gotta talk to our Lucha Libre correspondent from north, south, east, west of the border. He's all over the place when it comes to Lucha Libre, just like they are in the ring. But he is the three-time baby making champ. This is Ness. Sir, how are you doing?
Doing mighty fine on this lovely evening. True Hills, what's the deal? We are back with another episode of Fusion of Honor, and this was a nice episode. I'm just gonna say nice. I like the up and comers on the show. I think they really stood out as far as the new talent and the women. The main eventers, they did what they did. Not surprised there. But everybody else, they stood out to me this episode. So kudos to the new guys and gals.
And if you guys want to stand out, make sure you hit that comment button, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. That's how we know that you are in touch with everything we're putting out there. And that's what we want to see. We want to see everybody. We want to see those engagement numbers coming up because it lets us do what we do for you guys. So let's talk about what MLW is doing for us. Now, there was no real big news this week when it came to who they were drafting. It's just the announcement that TJP and Violence is Forever are returning to the fold. But we do get a match announcement for the big show at the 2300 Arena, July 10th. And that is Richard Holiday will be putting the Caribbean Championship on the line against Mil Muertes, who is now fully going by the name of King Muertes. And because this is a Caribbean match rules, it will be anything goes, which I feel is in the favor of Mil Muertes or King Muertes.
Yeah, Richard Holiday's gonna die. It's over. He's not champ anymore.
I think that would be a really cool way to kick off the Azteca Underground era. With having that Caribbean Championship, they could, maybe even rename it depending on what they're allowed to do with that title. I think they have full control of that title, so we'll see what happens with that one. But I mean, dynasties come to an end. That's how it works. So sooner or later, they come to an end. So we're gonna have to see what happens with Richard Holiday and King Muertes July 10th at that 2300 Arena. But let's talk about our Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor had some pretty good shows this week. Yeah. They had a kind of an action-packed episode. We didn't think we were going to be getting that much when it came. We knew what that main event was going to be, but that opening match was really good. And what we're talking about here is Eli Isom taking on Dak Draper, survival of the fittest qualifying match. And this match, something about it was kind of, I don't know, something about it felt off to me, especially in the beginning. Now we have both guys come out, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, I like this promo video where both of them are talking about how they feel like they should have won the match, but Dalton Castle showed up, and you're like, okay, cool, like I get it, you get the fire behind each guy, and then lo and behold, Dalton Castle comes out again, and I think like this. It did affect the match to me in a certain way because every time one of them got some kind of advantage over the other, either I don't know if these are the boys or the boys 2.0 or whatever they are, but the we'll say stagehands for Dalton Castle or Dalton Castle got involved just through like simple distractions, talking to people, just coming close to the ring and all that sort of thing, and it prolonged the match. And really, I think it took away from the match because you didn't need them. These are two guys who we already knew and already saw have a really, really great match, and then Dalton Castle showed up. This time they're starting with the Dalton Castle interference. It just kind of took me out of it. However, the match was actually very, very good. And I was surprised by the finish. I did not see Eli Isom picking up the win. I thought it was going to be Dak Draper picking up the win and being kind of uh, the big man anchor of that survival of the fittest match, being like the really tall dude who's going to be able to let some of the smaller guys work off of him and kind of be a glue, like an anchor piece of that survival of the fittest match. So incredible props to Eli Isom for picking up this big win and getting into that survival of the fittest six-man elimination match. Ness, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from with the interference from Dalton Castle. It did kind of come off as like not needed when it happened the first time. It was after the match. It was like, all right, it can happen now, and then we can pan off from it. Honestly, when he came out this time, it was funny because I'm thinking like, yeah, these guys are gonna face off each other again. I wonder where Dalton Castle is at. Just thinking it, I'm just like, it was random. It was random as shit. Next thing I know, the lights go out, music comes on. Yeah, he comes out walking like a penguin with all the other the boys, whoever the hell they're supposed to be. I'm like, oh god, now this is gonna be over the top. So, but back to the match. The match again was good, but it was the fact that Castle was out there distracting the guys. So it kind of did take away from the actual match itself. But in my opinion, storyline wise, it played off because of the type of person that Dak Draper is. He is a showman. He's cocky as fuck. So he wants to show off for people. And the whole thing that Dalton has in his mind right now is, oh, this is a wrestling show. We have viewers and fans that are watching us. It's not only about the wrestling, it should be about the showmanship as well. So as, the match is going on and Dak Draper and either one of the guys is getting, the better of their opponent, he's clapping, he's cheering them on, he's doing whatever, then that would take away from the match that was going on. But between the two of them, it just seemed like it affected Dak Draper a little more so because, he has that quote unquote audience there. So yeah, he's going to be pandering to them. And that's what ultimately led to his demise because as Dalton Castle's on the outside, he's talking to him throughout the whole match, cheering him on. Oh, I want you to go bigger. I want you to do more. You needed to do more, but you didn't need to do it at the expense of being able to win the match. He's trying to put on a show rather than get the job done. So at the end of the day, it just came down to, even Caprice Coleman said it on commentary, Dak Draper was trying to pretty much please the fans, quote unquote, or the people watching in Dalton Castle, and he was pretty much trying to do what they wanted him to do versus Eli Isom staying to his game, staying focused, and just being grounded in what he felt was going to be able to get him the win. And eventually that's where he picked up the win. So storyline wise, I get it. It makes sense going that route, but I do agree, it did take away from the match because I think these guys could have went probably a little bit better. And again, I'm not taking anything away from the match because the match was good. I just think that if it was just those two versus each other again, it potentially could have been a great match because I was fully invested in the story, And one thing I want to say, I like the idea and I like the fact that Dak Draper was saying like in the future, these guys can, be synonymous with each other. And yeah. I like that. Yeah, I like that because, they're up and comers. They're newer talent to, the Ring of Honor roster and Ring of Honor audience. And they're already talking about down the line, like not weeks, not months, like years. So, that just seems like they have a lot of stake in the company and like, the company is going to be behind them and pushing them. Hopefully that these guys do stay around, they can go somewhere and make more money, more about power to them. But at this point, I like what they're doing. I like that they're already implanting this idea of them having such a rivalry that we can talk about it for years. So I did want to touch on that because I think that was a great touch to Dak Draper's promo video.
Yeah. This is definitely a feud that can be something big for them over the course of many, many years, especially because Dak Draper kind of comes across as a pretty natural heel, and Eli Isom kind of is a natural face. And down the road, we can see, titles being involved. We can see even them switching positions. You can see Isom being more of a smart heel, of not necessarily chicken shit, but like of a smart heel who uses his mind more than his in-ring strengths, and Dak Draper being a face who has all these strengths and its size advantages over Eli Isom, but he's got to use his mind in order to be able to overcome Isom, because Isom is finding ways to negate those advantages. So there's a lot of options for them for down the road. But what we do know is that Eli Isom joins Flamita and Ness's second favorite Ring of Honor wrestler, Brian Johnson, because, of course, his first is Dak Draper in the Survival of the Fittest elimination match. So, guys, let's turn towards our main event. This one was a doozy. This one, I mean, we're talking about people using their brains and using their smarts. This was a match that had that in spades. Of course, we are talking about our tag team championship match. We have a returning Dragon Lee teaming up with fellow LFI member Kenny King to get back the titles that, well, one of them never actually lost, and that is the tag titles currently held by the Foundation's Rhett, Titus and Tracy Hot Sauce Williams. Now, because of the previous retention over the OGK, now going forward, every tag title match will be pure rules until the Foundation loses the titles. And will that happen today? Well, that depends on whether or not Kenny King can properly understand what a pure rules tag team match means. Now, there are 3 rope breaks, just like a regular tag team match, but a regular pure rules match. But what they've added is this interesting wrinkle, because it's a tag match. If you have exhausted all 3 of your rope breaks and you try to get into the ring to save your partner, that is a disqualification. And it's a very interesting wrinkle in the plan, because you got to have something in there to take away from people jumping in and saving their partners. This is something that would make this is an idea that FTR, for example, would love to have.
Oh yeah.
In AEW. Yeah. Those guys in a pure rules match would be simply amazing. But here we have Kenny King being the person who uses all 3 of LFI's rope breaks. And I got to say, I think it was Tracy very wisely in the beginning of the match puts Kenny in a position where he's in a submission hold and the rope is right there, and it's the natural reaction to grab the rope. And of course, Kenny does, forgetting that he's in a pure rules match. They burn one of those rope breaks. And as the match continues, we have some good hot tag moments where Rhett Titus comes in, clears house, but then he's going to need Tracy Williams again. They rebuild a hot tag. It's a good tag match that ultimately revolves around these rope breaks. Kenny King uses all 3 of them, and finally, in a finish that I thought was very, very smart, because they foreshadowed it when the Foundation used one of their rope breaks to come in and break up a pin. Dragon Lee is there. He's eating a finisher. He's getting ready to get pinned. Kenny King dives into the ring and breaks up the pin. But because LFI has no more rope breaks, it is a disqualification. We still have the Foundation as our tag team champions. But what's really, really interesting to me about this is that it protected both teams from taking a loss in the match. They saved that moment, which I think is really, really smart. That's well booked. And then what we see happen is just incredible. We
Oh yeah.
see Bestia hit the ring. We see the LFI taking it out on Foundation. I don't think no, Roosh wasn't there.
Nah.
But Roosh was not there. He was still crying because Federacion Wrestling had to get canceled. But out of nowhere, then the Foundation shows up, and Riccaboni and Coleman, they wisely say, now, because of everything that's gone on, this bad blood, they are going to have Foundation people at the gorilla position whenever a Foundation member is having a match, just in case LFI tries something. And while Roosh wasn't there, his presence was surely felt when Jonathan Gresham decides to take wires, take cords, and channel our world champion by using them to choke out. I think it was Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee, yeah.
He just wraps it around and he goes, I learned this from your brother. Boom! And he just tries to choke this poor man out. Dragon Lee's like, I'm already wearing a mask. What's going on? At least I can't see my face turning purple. But this was an even greater moment because of who is involved without being involved. And that is Violence Unlimited standing up there on the stage. Some of them now have matching shirts. You got to have merch. It's a rule. But they're standing there and they are just laughing. They are enjoying all of it. We are seeing the Foundation, maybe the cracks, maybe the crumbling is starting there. But Ness, tell me your thoughts about the match. Tell me your thoughts about the finish. And of course, that looming presence of Violence Unlimited at the very end of the episode.
Well, of course, I definitely enjoyed the match. It was a lot of back and forth action. I like the fact that they played up on Kenny being the reason, well, not the reason for the tag match, but Kenny being one of the reasons why LFI left the anniversary show without any gold except for the world title. They played up on this match. He pretty much worked the majority of this match from this LFI side. Dragon Lee was in for a little bit, but I think he could have been in there a little bit more. But then Kenny being the one to exasperate all of their road breaks, which I found hilarious because literally was just him. But then being the one to get the disqualification, overall, it keeps, again, I agree, that was a great idea. Nobody takes a clean loss, which at this point, I don't think either side really could use unless it gets down to a point where it's like, all right, this is going to be the blow-off match. I like that this keeps it going. I like the fact that it took the disqualification because it just seemed like something out of the ordinary, just something that didn't seem like what was going to happen. Because I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, who's gonna win? You know, is Kenny gonna use all the rope breaks and then take the pin? Is Dragon Lee gonna finally return and then he's gonna take the pin? Like, no, that's bad on both parts. But are they going to regain the tag team championships and like have a loss for the Foundation? I'm like, yo, where can we go with this? So the disqualification, it keeps the guys looking strong. It pretty much can lead to them having another match. I don't really know the parameters around it surrounding the pure rules. We'll see. Because again, they were disqualified, but it's not like they threw a punch, like a closed fist. Nobody from outside of the match of those two teams got involved, so that doesn't really need to be in effect. But just gonna see where they go with it. It was funny though to see Jonathan Gresham choking. Like there's the cracks are there. The cracks are definitely there, and I was definitely like, it came to mind like, yo, Violence Unlimited got to these guys. Then eventually they come out and they're on the stage laughing at their work because it took for the mind games just from Violence Unlimited. And then I don't want to give all credit to Violence Unlimited because LFI has been a pain in the ass to the Foundation. So I'm pretty sure that they're getting they're not even getting. They're extremely fed up with those guys. So it just comes down to the point, like, all right, they're frustrated, and if these guys want to fight, now they're going to fight. Pure wrestling, yeah, we can do it, maybe. But once the bell is rung and the match is over, if you guys want to throw hands and use foreign objects, we're going to throw hands and use foreign objects as well. So I think that, again, I like the mantra that Violence Unlimited goes by. Oh, there's violence and there's honor in violence. But it just seems like the foundation actually follows that code. Like, look, we're going to go out here and do what we need to do and follow our guidelines to the point where now you guys back us against a wall, and now we have to come out swinging. Not swinging the way that we want to, but swinging the way that we know we can combat against you guys. And at the moment, it's all fun and games to Violence Unlimited until they're going to be the ones on the receiving end of that type of reaction from the foundation. And, we already know that LFI is not going to take that line down either. So this is, we always talking about those plates. They're spinning, keep spinning. And when, what's the show that's coming up next month?
Best in the World.
Best in the World. Yeah, when Best in the World gets here, who knows how fast those plates are going to spin. And they can be going at Mach speed at that point.
And guys, this leads perfectly. This is a perfect segue into this week's Ring of Honor Week by Week, where we get an announcement that we don't even have to wait until Best in the World. We are going to get something next week, because next week, Tony Deppen is going to put the TV title on the line in a triple threat against LFI's Dragon Lee and the Foundation's Tracy Williams, our two most recent TV title champions. And of course, with a triple threat, anything goes. Yeah. So there's no pure rules for Tracy to rely on, and there's plenty of chaos for LFI to capitalize on, and that means there's going to be a lot of violence for Tony Deppen to use, especially when Tony Deppen in the promo video for it says everybody keeps saying that he's the weakest member of Violence Unlimited. He's the least violent, but they're forgetting he's actually the most unstable, which I find hard to believe. But
I don't blame you. I definitely don't see that.
He can prove us all wrong next week. But on this week's episode of Week by Week, we had some big announcements. Speaking of Best in the World, we get the announcement that Flip Gordon will be taking on EC3 at Best in the World. And we get to see that our Survival of the Fittest field we get another answer as to who is going to be in this 6-man elimination match when O'Shea Edwards takes on Chris Dickinson. And this was a pretty good match. They had some nice spots. There was a lot of physicality. And I got to say, I would have been happy with either person getting the win on this one. But it was Chris Dickinson. Dickinson is the one who comes away with the win. So right now we have Flamita, or Demonic Flamita. We have Brian Johnson, everybody's favorite to win this match. We have Eli Isom, and we have Chris Dickinson. We now need to figure out who are going to be our final two, and that's between Rhett Titus and I think it's Danhausen, and what's the last one? Bateman, and who is it? No, it's Bateman and Bandito. So I think Bateman takes the L and Bandito advances, and I want to say Danhausen surprises Rhett Titus and picks up the win, because why would you put your tag title champ in that match and potentially hurt your tag title match at Best in the World? So we have a nice little upset win by Danhausen. In the promo video on Week by Week, he's talking about how he has not won since Final Battle, and that's making his money bag very light, and so that's upsetting to him. So, and of course, what happens at this 6-man elimination match when we get Danhausen Mecha 4? That's the real storyline here, people. That's what we have to sink our teeth into. But when we're talking about what we're going to sink our teeth into, we also need to talk about this Women of Honor tournament. Who is getting more of these golden tickets? Is this Sumi Sakai's week? I don't know. But I'll tell you whose week it is. It is Mandy Leon's week because Women of Honor starts with the announcement or with the interview from Maria and Mandy, where Maria gives Mandy a golden ticket. She kind of has a good she has a good little laugh at Mandy's expense in the beginning part when she asks Mandy how long Mandy's been with Ring of Honor, and Mandy Leon's like, it's been like 8.5 years. And I was like, damn, it's been 8.5 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time, especially when they didn't have a women's championship for so long. But hey, troopers are troopers, and Mandy Leon definitely comes across as a soldier in that regard. But Mandy Leon gets one back on Maria when she's saying, yeah, I knew I was in the tournament. What's this good news that you have for me? And Maria's like, no, you in the tournament is the news. And Mandy's just like, but I already knew that, so what's the news? And we also find out at the end of this show that Nicole Savoy, if last you saw her on television, it would have been as the Lil Swole to Big Swole in the AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament, and she is getting a ticket to gold. I'm sorry, as well, which leaves us with this interesting question to ask. Well, there's many questions, but first, when's Sumi Sakai getting a ticket? That we already know. But two, what exactly is going on with Max the Impaler? Because on this week's Ring of Honor Week by Week, we find out when Quinn McKay decides to do some intrepid journalistic reporting, she goes to interview none other than Amy Rose and Max the Impaler. And in a horrible knockoff of Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero, they're just standing there, and Amy Rose cuts one of the most awkward promos I've seen in a long time. She basically says, well, Quinn, you know my track record, you know my pedigree. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, LFI did all the work, but okay.
What the fuck was she thinking? Oh my God.
Like, you know my track record, and Quinn's like, yeah, no, I know your track record. And Amy says, well, you know what that means? That means that Max is going to be a threat. And she says, I want everyone to remember this. Pretty hurts. And I was like, that's a word that people don't associate with Max the Impaler, but we are not here to judge on True Heels. Not at all. At least not on Fusion of Honor.
Yeah.
We'll leave that for Ness's fellow Philly correspondent, Jake. But Ness, I would like your reactions to Mandy getting a ticket, to Nicole Savoy getting a ticket, and the confirmation that Amy Rose is with Max the Impaler.
All right. So I absolutely love the reaction that Mandy Leon gave to Maria. She's just like, I think that was the sole reaction because everybody gets the golden ticket. You know, they're all happy. Oh, thank you. You know, I'm so honored. Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But finally, somebody stands out in receiving the golden ticket and it's just like, all right, you didn't tell me something I didn't already know. You know, she's just like, I know I'm going to be in it. Like, what's this news? Oh, no, that is news. Oh, no, that can't be it because I already knew this. You didn't tell me yet, but I already knew. I love the cockiness. I love the confidence. Again, she stands out because she's doing something that nobody else has done as far as receiving the golden ticket. That also is going to, in my opinion, and I'm just throwing things in the dark here, that's going to lead to ultimately possibly having Angelina Love and Mandy in the same side of the bracket. So, you know, they could potentially meet up. You know, you don't want to piss off the board of directors or anybody important in that, in Maria. So she might be setting herself up for her own downfall, being as cocky and confident as she is. But again, until that happens, this is probably like my favorite interview and receiving of the golden ticket into the women's division tournament. Nicole Savoy, not too familiar with her. I know she is. I've seen some of her work, but the thing that stands out to me the most was I believe that she was pretty much voted in by the fans. So that says a lot about her, a lot about the fans. Like, and again, to Ring of Honor as well. The people that they're listening, like, yeah, we want to see this person in it, and they're gonna go out and make it happen. And it's credit to her that, you know, she's put in enough work to have the fans elicit that emotion and be invested in her, for them to go out and just say, you know, because they could have said anybody, because we're both in the group, and I'm pretty sure that they're just listing their own choices. Like, they're not coming from Ring of Honor; it's coming from the fans. So that's a huge feather in her cap, and I can't wait to see her in the tournament. Which leads me to Amy Rose and Max the Impaler. Amy Rose and cutting promos is not the best thing, especially being you're just a manager or just in a managerial role. So that's literally all you do. She doesn't get involved in matches. Not that Max the Impaler would need for her to get involved in any of her matches either. Also, I've stated this before on a previous episode that doesn't appeal to me, because I don't think Max the Impaler needs a manager, and she definitely doesn't need fucking Amy Rose of all people to be her manager. It definitely takes away her mystique, because Max can do a lot of damage, and we've seen her do a lot of damage on her own, just like we've seen LFI do a lot of damage on their own. And just having someone there in Amy Rose to try to take the credit for it, it doesn't sit well with me. It really doesn't work. But, you know, we'll see how that plays out. Maybe Max will get fed up with her quicker than LFI did, you know, because that seems like Max is that type of individual. It's like, look, why the fuck are you out here? Why are you just following me? Like, all right, I'm over you. And then like she gets rid of her herself. But yeah, I hope the storyline goes that way. It doesn't. Yeah, it that pairing. It's like you said. It's like Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose, which that's already not that great of a pairing. But you know, at least Vicky can get heat.
Yes.
Amy
absolutely.
Amy Rose can't get heat. Or if she does, it's like go away heat. Like why? Like no, it doesn't. It's not working. It's not working for me at all.
Not at all. I agree with you 100%. Even in that segment, the Max just kind of looked kind of uncomfortable, because she wasn't. I guess she was trying to play off of. She's trying to do, like, you know, the whole menacing thing, standing in the background, but it just didn't. It didn't work, because Amy, like, the almost monotone, like, just doesn't know. You didn't feel anything behind it, and then everything she's talking about when she's bragging, like, there's no. You don't feel as though she earned any of the bragging that she's doing. Like, if Paul Heyman does some bragging, like, you feel it, like, you understand it, because Heyman has done enough. Even with even when he first joined up with Roman, it felt right, because he was doing enough with Roman that it made sense, and you know the backstory of everything that's gone on with Heyman's career. Now, that's a little unfair to Amy Rose. Like, obviously, it's hard to have the managerial career that stacks up to Paul Heyman's, but if you're not going to have that, then you need to be the person getting involved in the matches. And because of how Ring of Honor books it, she didn't. So she doesn't have that clout to really be able to use. I'm just like, when she says that, when she says, you know, Quinn, you know my history, you know my accomplishments, it automatically makes me think less of Max, because I'm like, why would you associate with this? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But one thing that does make sense to me is the match this week for Women of Honor, where we see Roxy take on Laney Luck. It is a returning Laney Luck. We know, Roxy already has her ticket to gold. She is in the tournament. Laney is not. This is maybe a chance for Laney to take a ticket. That would be a really cool thing. That, I think, would be all pretty cool if they, like, let's say, for example, so Roxy defeats Laney Luck. We'll get that out of the way. But let's say for a moment Laney had won the match. If they had done something where Maria says, well, because you lost the match, your ticket now goes to Lady Luck, I think that would add a pretty cool wrinkle to how people get into the tournament. And then
Yeah.
also, whoever lost the ticket could interfere in the tournament, costing that person their match, and then you have a ready-made feud that's already got some heat behind it. That would be something that'd be kind of cool for them to do. But Roxy is able to defend that spot. We'll say that she's defending that spot when she puts away Lady Luck. This was a pretty good match. I liked it. Both of them were able to get some nice spots in. Lady does her, little party dancing gimmick here and there throughout the match. It fits it right where it's supposed to be in the match almost. And there's some nice moments where she's doing the dancing, and then Roxy immediately tries to do athletic moves in order to say, whatever you can do, I can do better. We're going to have this element of showmanship. Roxy ultimately able to put away Lady Luck. These were two, I think, that stood out to you before. What were your thoughts on this one, Ness?
Yeah, that they were, and it's funny because when we first started doing the, reviewing Women of Honor as well as along with the rest of the show, and they were the first two that kicked it off in the tag match. So like I was already engaged with them from then, and then like just to go on and watch the match and get invested in them because I've never seen them before. That was my first time. But now like already having that seen it before, I'm like, yeah, I wanted more. Like bring them back. And I believe that's what they did. They finally, again, they listened to the fans, brought them back for a one-on-one match because out of the two teams, those are the two that stood out to me from each team. Now we've seen a match between High-End and Maxine Paler already prior, but this was the match that I was expecting and I wanted, and then we got it, which was a great match. Aside from losing the match and Lady Luck, I like the fact that she's a show woman. Very show, like just trying to put on a show while wrestling. Outside of the fact that Dak Draper tried to do this as well, it didn't work out well for him because he was trying to pander to one individual that didn't have the best interest at heart in Dalton Castle. But Laney was just trying to put on a show for everyone at home and to show that she was better than her opponent. I feel as though that Dak Draper was just trying to, he's just a cocky asshole that, he already thinks he's better than Eli Isom and everybody else on the Ring of Honor roster, that it didn't matter if, he actually went out there and got the job done. He's going to think he's better than him regardless, and probably not show the respect. Yeah, but not show the true respect. Laney did that, and both of these ladies, they're going back and forth. Again, Roxy really is a prodigy. They keep repeating it of how young she is because that's a major thing. She's been wrestling since she's 13. She's 19 now. You can call her a veteran, and then they even talked about, is she still teachable, or do you think because of all the years that she has been wrestling, do you think that she believes that she knows it all? Or can she still soak up some information and use it to her advantage? And that's also a storyline that I can see they can go down with. And now I'm just throwing it out here because it literally just came to mind. And not the fact that I really want this to happen, but Amy Rose, again, oh, my credentials. You see, yeah, you know my track record. You see my rap, all the things that I've done, which she really hasn't. That can be something that they play into with her and Roxy. Again, Roxy being a younger competitor, but still having that aura around her. Like, look, I'm still trying. I'm still getting better. I still have a lot to learn. Maybe they can play off of that at some point. If you guys are watching it at home, Ring of Honor management, I gave you one. That would be nice. But at the end of the day, I hope. Well, Rocky's already in it, and again, just like they did with Miranda Alizé, there must be high on these ladies, managerial wise, from Ring of Honor management, because this is her second win. Once was a tag match, and now she has a decisive win over Laney Luck, who I hope to see in the tournament. You know, right now she's getting the Sumi Sakai treatment, but you know, eventually, hopefully she gets in. And I like the idea that you brought up that what if these ladies like, oh, I'm already in it. If you lose, you know, you gotta have your spot taken, because just like in matches like number one contenders matches or people that are champions and they lose a match prior to becoming champion, you know, the first person that usually gets a shot when they go on to becoming champion is the person that beat them. So I like the idea of, oh, I already have a golden ticket to the tournament and I lose, you know, that gives your spot up. You know, so that would be something interesting storyline wise going forward. But yeah, I gotta give it to these two ladies. These are the two that I'm looking forward to seeing the most down the line in Ring of Honor. I wanted them to have a match. They gave it to me. I'm thoroughly pleased with what we got. Now I just want them to put Laney Luck in the women's title tournament and just see where they go from there. These are the two of my favorites so far. You know, they go out there, they can go in the ring. Laney has the character down with her wrestling. Roxy just has so much upside with her wrestling too. So again, I can throw some other people in there, but at this point, these are the two that I have high at the top of my list.
Yeah, this was a really good one. I think it worked out really, really well for them. Gave it nice little taste of the future for what could happen, just like with Isom and Draper.
Yeah.
And you know, I've seen, you know, because it's an indie, right? So there are matches where they're gonna have men facing women. But I've been to a freelance show where there was I think it was a 5 or 6 person multi-person match, and Laney was in there, and she did a moonsault off the top rope while wearing that unicorn hat thing, and it just took out. It was the classic. Everybody's holding on to each other like waiting for the spot, and she did the moonsault off there. So really, really great talent, and I'm looking forward to seeing how exactly they are going to do this, because, you know, Best in the World, I mean, we say this every week now, Best of the World's right around the corner. When is this tournament going to start? Maybe they're waiting for after Best in the World, and that's kind of their kind of, they said in the summer, but the closing out the summer into the fall kind of thing. And I think that'll be really good for them. But I am hearing some rumors that we may be getting Fred Yehai versus Gresham for that pure title before Best in the World on a TV episode, and I'm kind of hoping that they save that match for Best in the World. Speaking of Best in the World, but I mean, I gotta know, because I think Survival of the Fittest is gonna end at Best in the World.
Yeah.
Who is gonna be facing Roosh at the old pay-per-view at the pay-per-view? This will be interesting to see, but guys, we can only speculate at this point.
Yeah, because honestly, nobody's even really built up to be Roosh's opponent for Best in the World. It's like the people that potentially could be, it's like gang warfare, you know. Violence Unlimited, they're all just combating with the rest of the LFI and the Foundation. There's not one single person outside of that hasn't already had a shot. You know, Brody King, Jay Lethal, they've all faced Roosh, and you know, they lost. So do they go back into the bag of tricks? You know, do we get a rematch? Do we get a triple threat between those two, or between those three people?
No, we can't. We can't, because Lethal and Brody got a singles match.
Oh shit! Yeah, what the hell am I talking about?
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
That's what I'm saying. They've now just removed Flip and EC3.
Yeah.
You know who I'm thinking? Jay Briscoe. Them boys.
Yeah.
Them boys.
Honestly, yeah, because they're yeah, as far as the tag team, yeah, they're not. I mean, it's the Briscoes. Like, they can whenever they say, hey, I want a tag team title shot. All right, yeah, it's the fucking Briscoes. But yeah, I think that would be a great match. First of all,
I think Jay Briscoe can be the one to try to take that title from Roosh at Best in the World.
Yeah, they got to do it. They got to get on that fast, man.
That pay-per-view is coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a little under a month. Yeah, well, actually, when is it? The 17th of next month? or it's like 17th or 19th, somewhere around there, I believe.
This is let me look it up because this is going to be something that
I mean,
that we
yeah,
got.
this is actually vital information that we do.
Oh wow, it's less than a month. July 11th. There's only like 3 weeks.
Yeah, and like at this point in time, there's nobody that's a number
Yeah.
one contender to the world title picture, unless they try to like hot shot the survival of the fittest. Unless they try to do whoever wins that faces Roosh the night of.
Maybe.
But that I wouldn't want them to do that. And there's a lot of times that I don't really express what I don't want the company to do. But I think that was just because we're gonna know like. It's just kind of rush, you know. I wouldn't mind Roosh facing just any person, and you know, all right, if he retains, he retains. But I think that going on to be just like Tony Deppen won the Four Corners match to face Dragon Lee at was it Final Battle? Yeah, like he went on and did that. Makes sense, but like survival of the fittest is a major thing, and I believe that like they should save that for a future show. Don't have the whole title tournament, the finals, and then you got to face the world champ later on in the night too.
Does your opinion change if Brian Johnson wins?
It doesn't, because I know Brian Johnson isn't going to beat Roosh at the same night that he won the survival of the fittest.
But imagine he wins a 6-man elimination match, and then they do like the halfway point of the show backstage. He's in the trainer's room promo.
You're gonna make me say yeah. You're gonna make me say yeah, because you wanna know why? I know Brian Johnson would get me to say hell yeah. I want this to happen. He has that
alone.
Exactly. It would. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm gonna shut the hell up. Sign me up. Let's see it. Go ahead, Mecca. Go out there. Mecca versus LFI versus everybody. It doesn't even matter. Yeah, that probably exactly.
But guys, when we find out who is the winner of Survival of Fittest, we will be with you every single step of the way. When we find out who is facing Roosh at Best in the World, when we find out who is the best in the world after that pay-per-view, we will be with you every single step of the way here on Fusion of Honor. And by then, we will really know who is showing up at that MLW event July 23rd. So guys, until next time, I am the Stat King, and Ness, tell the people where they can find you, sir.
You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at skinny__Kravitz. Catch me right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, one half of Fusion of Honor. Obviously, we're man of Stat King, the man of 1,004 numbers, where we review MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor. Catch me on Blunt Impact and Joints and Jabronis with Chris G. You can also catch me on NX3 with, once again, Chris G and Romeo Anthony Colon, where we review NXT, the Roundtable Rebel. Catch me on the Roundtables. And as always, you can hear my illustrious voice on True Toxicity.
And guys, you can catch me in our Facebook group getting into fun conversations with all of you. And you can catch me on Dark Power, where I talk about AEW Dark, AEW Elevation, and NWA Power. We got some I feel kind of bad because I should have found out about this before I taped Dark Power, but we got some pretty interesting news for how all 4 of the AEW shows are going to be ran going forward. It's going to be kind of interesting. What we did used to have with Dark, we're now going to have Elevation taped before Dynamite instead of Dark. We're going to have Rampage potentially being live some weeks, taped some weeks. Tony said he wants to have a dedicated venue that's just for AEW Dark, kind of like a performance center. So we're the people behind this shirt, the people behind that shirt, they're doing some major things. And if we can see MLW and Ring of Honor working with them, oh boy, Rocky Romero, pick up the phone. That's all we're saying.
Yes.
What if they got an AEW person to face Roosh at Best of the World?
Hey, man, at this point, I mean, out of people that are actually available, because again, it seems like they have people that we would expect to be facing Roosh aren't really built up to do it. So why not go out of your comfort zone? You know, make some waves, get the people talking, do something out of the ordinary.
I mean, we did see a certain somebody show up now at AEW, a certain Ingobernables. So you never know if these
Come
guys
on, man.
are
That's
talking.
that's too much. It's too much for me. You know, my heart can't take so much lucha libre.
But alrighty, guys. Until next time, on behalf of myself, on behalf of the 3-time baby making champ, this has been another episode of Fusion of Honor. Thank you guys for riding with us. And until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace.